I consider this what we call a YOLO moment. You only live once, all right? And to make sure that I don't compete, because I think that is a really good deal, I'm out.
All right, sometimes he's in, sometimes he's out. That's Daymond John, CEO of the international clothing line Fubu. He is one of the so-called sharks on ABC's show Shark Tank, making decisions weekly about whether or not to invest money in aspiring entrepreneurs looking to start their small business or take it to the next level. Daymond, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
What made you want to be part of this show?
Well, at first I said they were crazy. This is my own money. But then I realized, most of the opportunities I get are generally in fashion when I'm only cannibalizing my own company.
Right.
So I wanted to use my branding ability and my distribution ability and get brands and things that I could put into the department stores, but they're not fashion related. And then putting me on this national stage gets me those opportunities.
So do you find then people beyond the show come to you?
Yeah. Well, that's the good and bad, walking down the block. And, even this building, I probably had about 3 offers already.
I bet you did. I think Matt may want to talk to you about something as well. Let me ask you, so when these folks come on the show and they present their ideas, what makes you ultimately decide whether or not you want to be in or out?
Well, generally, I have to like the person. I believe the person is a brand themselves, first of all, or unless they have a patent and idea, something proprietary that I know I can go out and sue everybody, or that I know that it's protected, or if they're just generating a lot of revenue and I think there's substantial room for growth.
Let me ask you, in terms of some of the ideas that you said, okay, I'm in and you're working with, give me one that you're working with right now.
I work with one called TC Pets, and it's a proprietary product where the kids store things in their little the stuffed animal per se, and it's a book bag and you can sleep with it and everything else, and I love the idea because it had a patent. I have 2 little girls, so I can see them playing with the product, and the entrepreneur herself is really very smart, so I don't think that I had to do much work. She can run the business herself and be a great partner even moving forward.
How much money are you ultimately putting in?
Well, I think this season I put in about 900 somewhere. I'm at the 900 mark, 900,000.
How much competition is there between the individual sharks? Because sometimes you guys get into some battles over things.
There's a lot of competition. You'll see that one of the episodes I got, as they said, ran over by a bus. The guys turned around and said, well, Daymond doesn't need to be in there. I knew I was trying to get a free ride anyway.
Right.
So they ran me over by the bus, as they say. But, at the end of the day, they're in my way. Because we're not partners on the deal.
You guys are all looking to make money.
Yeah, it's my money, and I'm not there to be their friends, even though I do like them and respect them.
Daymond, how often do you say, okay, I'm in on a deal, and then later on, after the show's over, you start kind of picking your way through things, and you say, this isn't a business?
Well, you know what happens, I'm dedicating $200,000, $500,000 to meeting somebody within an hour, and then when we go through due diligence, we have to see that the company is a clean company. They don't owe taxes, they really have a patent, not patent pending, a lot of other things. So I would say probably about 50% of the deals really happen.
I just want to quickly get to one deal that you said that you're out. I think it was implanted Bluetooth, surgically implanted Bluetooth.
The guy wanted to surgically implant a Bluetooth into your neck. I guess you got to plug your neck in at night when you sleep, and then if you want to upgrade, you have to go get another surgery. So, unless I was supplying to the government something like that, I don't think it would work. All
right, I want to get to your business, if we may, a little bit. You've made a lot of money. You've expanded a lot. You're global. Talk to me about how the business is going right now.
Well, business is tough.
Yeah.
As always, we had pulled Fubu out of the United States and put it basically in Europe and Asia. A lot of business, I think, is down about 35–40%. But, we kind of insulated ourselves by acquiring other companies. We acquired Coogee, which is a known brand that Bill Cosby used to wear, the big loud sweaters. And, we have that in the United States. And, I have about 10 brands. And you look at it, 2 of them are doing well to okay. And others I'm kind of holding back on right now because it's just really a bad environment out there.
Yeah. How bad, though? Has it better than it was a year ago, better than it was 6 months ago?
For us, it's better because we were the first people to feel, in our industry, the first people to feel the effect because immediately clothes stopped selling. Somebody just wears their shirt 2 more times or 10 more times. So I think we've been feeling it since probably about 3 years ago, or maybe even a little bit further. So we're prepared for a little bit of that hit.
I mean, it's safe to say the consumer's still in a tough spot at this point.
Well, not only the consumer, the issue is that the stores can't get the credit to get it to the consumer. So even before you get there, obviously, obviously with the,
Right,
you know, with the
financial crisis.
factors and all those issues, people can't bring in the goods.
All right, just got a few seconds left. So
Sure.
what's next for you?
Well, next for me is obviously I love fashion and all these entrepreneurs I had to start working with, and I love actually working with a lot of Fortune 500 companies because I give the big CEOs the advice on how to get into my market. So I love branding, motivational speaking, but at the end of the day, fashion is what I do and what I love.
You still love it. What's your advice to somebody who's looking to maybe start a business? What one main piece of advice would you give them?
Make sure you're doing something you love. I think that is the only thing that all successful people have in common, because if you do not get the monetary compensation that you would like, you at least fulfilled yourself in some other way.
Got to see the passion.
That's it.
What pitfalls should they avoid? What is something you came across that just say watch out for?
Not learning the business. Whether you go out and intern someplace for 5 years, stop thinking everything is so easy and you didn't do it yet. You have to learn the business, whether it's education, internet, experience. Learn the business first, and that will save you a lot of money. The only thing more expensive than education is ignorance.
All right,
and
but
I will say that.
those Bluetooth implants, though, those implanted Bluetooths, not it, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe he should have got one first and learned the business, you know?
That makes sense. Hey, Daymond, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Daymond John, CEO of Fubu.